Hi, RushRecap here. Today I'm going to explain an adventure thriller movie called Nerve. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie opens with Venus DeMonico, a high school student from Staten Island, receiving an email. It is a message from the California Institute of Arts reminding her that the admission deadline is only 2 days away. Venus has always wanted to join an art school to pursue her passion for photography, and recently she was accepted into Cal Art, the most prestigious one in the nation. She also wants to leave her hometown and see the world beyond it. However, ever since her brother Mike passed away a year ago, her priorities have changed. Instead of happily accepting the invitation, Venus begins to write a reply email stating that she will have to decline the offer. She's turning down the invitation because she's too scared to tell her mom that she wants to leave Staten Island. But before she can send the email, Venus receives a Facebook notification from JP Guerrero, the school heartthrob and a rising football star. He has tagged her in a photo with a caption asking everyone to attend a practice game that afternoon. Just as she's about to click the like button, her friend Sydney video calls her. Venus is taunted about her secret crush on JP, which makes her blush. Sydney then asks if she has told her mom about the invitation from Cal Art, to which Venus replies that she hasn't. In the middle of their conversation, Sydney excitedly announces that Nerve is starting. When Venus asks her what that is, Sydney sends a link that leads directly to a video. It turns out that Nerve is a 24/7 live streaming game where anyone can participate by doing crazy dares. People can join Nerve either as a watcher, someone who pays to watch, or as a player who plays to win a cash prize. After each challenge, Sydney urges her friend to sign up for the game as a watcher, but the latter doesn't seem interested in it. At breakfast, Venus has a conversation about her future plans with her mother, Anne. It's revealed that Anne wants her to accept a scholarship from a local college and stay with her in Staten Island. She jokes that given their financial condition, the only college dorm Venus can afford is their own home. Venus sees this as an opportunity and carefully proposes that they list Mike's room on Airbnb for some extra cash. However, Anne completely rejects the idea as she doesn't want to sell her son's memories. Later, at the practice game, Venus takes pictures of the football team members, including JP, for the school's magazine. Meanwhile, Sydney, who is a cheerleader, talks to the watchers on her Nerve account. She asks them to support her before going back to the other cheerleaders. After a while, the dance routine begins, and everyone performs their part brilliantly. But in the midst of it, Sydney suddenly turns around and lifts up her skirt. This sends the crowd into a state of frenzy, while Venus realizes that her friend did the stunt as part of a Nerve dare. The scene then cuts to a series of clips showing several youngsters throughout New York participating in Nerve. Sydney is happy that she's continuously earning through the game while having dozens of watchers. Later, during lunch, Venus chastises her friend, revealing that she got a temporary suspension because of the stunt. She asks her to focus on her studies and other important things in life. However, Sydney retaliates, saying Venus doesn't understand the adrenaline rush of the game because she's the type of person who simply wants to stay in her comfort zone. Enraged by this comment, Venus goes home and signs up to be a player for Nerve. A robotic voice then lays out the 3 important rules of the game. The first one states that each player must record their challenge with their own phone. The second rule says that players get eliminated for failing or bailing out of their tasks. And the final rule strongly warns players against reporting the game to authorities, stating that snitches get stitches. Shortly afterward, Venus accepts her first dare, and the game asks her to reach a nearby diner. She asks her close friend Tommy to accompany her for the task. Tommy genuinely cares for her, and as a budding programmer, he has serious reservations about Nerve. He agrees to accompany her, but reveals that some kids had supposedly died while playing the game. Venus retorts that if kids had actually died, the game would be shut down by now. However, Tommy explains that it can't be shut down since there isn't a single server for the game. Every person who logs on to Nerve becomes a new server, making it impossible to shut down. After a while, they reach the diner, and Venus learns that her first dare is to kiss a stranger. She will have to do so for 5 seconds, and the reward is $100. Tommy tries his best to discourage her, but she ignores him and approaches a guy named Ian. The latter is currently reading a book, so Venus tries asking him about it. Ian happily starts explaining, but Venus can't wait any longer and surprises him with a kiss. Tommy captures the entire thing on her phone, and as a result, her account gains several watchers. The $100 is also deposited into her account, making her very happy. Moments later, the two friends notice Ian singing and dancing around the diner. This makes them realize that he too is a Nerve player. Ian himself approaches them and reveals that he was instructed to come here by the game. After a brief introduction, they decide to go their separate ways. All of a sudden, Ian gets his new dare, which is to go downtown with Venus. She's hesitant at first, but eventually agrees to accompany him on his motorbike. It is obvious that after their steamy kiss, the Nerve watchers want to see more of the duo together. When they reach the city, they bid each other goodbye and go their separate ways. But just as he walks into a nearby luxury fashion store, Venus receives her next dare. The watchers want her to go inside the store and try on a particular dress. Venus likes this challenge, so she immediately accepts and goes inside. She then finds the dress, which costs a jaw-dropping $4,000. With time running out, she carelessly undresses and puts on the expensive dress, but the timer on her phone suddenly stops working, so she has no clue if she completed the dare or not. Just then, Ian appears completely suited up as part of a similar dare. Unbeknownst to them, another player named Ty is also at the same store. He has accepted a dare from the watchers to steal the clothes that they were wearing. Once he's finished, Ty sneaks out of the store, leaving the duo without any clothes. Venus and Ian then receive a combined dare, which, unsurprisingly, is to leave the store. They contemplate shoplifting for a while, but Venus ultimately refuses as the clothes are too expensive. Hence, they gather their courage and flee the store in their undergarments. As soon as they reach outside, the dare is complete, and they receive a shopping bag as a prize. It surprisingly contains the same expensive clothes that they tried on inside the store. Meanwhile, Tommy is starting to get worried about Venus's involvement in the game, so he asks one of his friends, who is a hacker, to help him gather more information about Ian. They do some digging and eventually learn that Ian is a seasoned player of the game. Meanwhile, for Venus's next dare, she is once again paired with Ian. They are asked to ride a motorcycle in the city at a speed of 60 miles per hour. As if that wasn't hard, Ian will have to do it while blindfolded. Venus is certainly against this crazy idea, but he somehow manages to change her mind. What's the worst that could happen? We could die. What? Yo! As thousands of people watch online, the duo gets ready for the dare. As per the rules, Ian pastes a sticker on his helmet's visor, limiting his visibility. He then starts the engine and asks Venus to give him directions so that he can navigate the motorcycle to the finish line. The countdown begins, and the two set off along a busy road. Initially, Venus panics due to the heavy traffic and fumbles the directions, almost causing the motorcycle to crash into a taxi. But after a while, she pulls herself closer to Ian's body and starts leading towards the direction she wants him to go. This allows them to easily navigate through traffic and finish the task before the allotted time. In the next scene, they stroll around the city, and Venus asks why Ian is playing Nerve. She wants to know if it's for the money or just for the thrill. Ian responds by giving her a vague answer, stating that he's doing it to help his family out of a sketchy situation. Just then, Venus receives a call from Sydney but chooses not to answer. She instead passes some mean comments about her friend, without realizing that several watchers nearby are recording the duo. When Sydney watches the live feed, she is absolutely livid. She's even more jealous about the fact that Venus is getting more clout than her. Hence, she decides to accept a challenging dare where she has to go from one building to another using only a ladder. Soon enough, her anger changes to fear, and she ends up backing out. While all of this is happening, the mysterious player Ty continuously finishes one challenge after another and gains the top spot. Elsewhere, Venus and Ian show up to a Nerf party. Among loud cheers, she gets to know that Sydney has been eliminated from the game and tries to find her. She eventually locates her in her room, making out with JP, and the two begin arguing. Sydney is mad that her close friend passed mean comments on her while several people were watching. As she continues ranting about how Venus always plays it safe and never takes risks, Venus retaliates by accusing Sydney of being reckless and craving attention. The argument intensifies until Sydney reveals her jealousy over Venus's sudden popularity in Nerve. This confrontation marks a significant strain in their friendship, leaving Venus feeling guilty and conflicted. Meanwhile, Ian continues to receive dares, and one of them directs him and Venus to a secluded spot in the city. The task seems harmless at first. They have to stay there for a specific period. But as the timer counts down, they realize the area is more dangerous than they anticipated. The environment becomes tense and eerie, suggesting that Nerve is no longer just a game, but a perilous trap. During this challenge, Tommy uncovers disturbing information about the game and its origin. He finds out that the game was created by a secret group of hackers who designed it to manipulate and control its players, pushing them to their limits for entertainment and profit. Realizing the severity of the situation, Tommy rushes to warn Venus. He contacts her and tries to convince her to quit the game immediately. However, she is too deep into the game, both mentally and physically, to simply walk away. As the night progresses, Venus and Ian complete several more dares together, each more dangerous than the last. Their partnership strengthens as they learn to trust and depend on each other. However, they also realize that the game is orchestrating their every move, leading them into increasingly hazardous situations. The climax of the movie arrives with a final, nearly impossible dare. Venus and Ian must break into a high-security building and steal a valuable item. The stakes are higher than ever, and the risk of getting caught or seriously injured is immense. Despite their fears, they decide to go through with it, motivated by the desire to win the game and the substantial cash prize that comes with it. The heist is filled with suspense and near misses, but Venus and Ian manage to pull it off, barely escaping the building's security. As they celebrate their victory, the game gives them an unexpected ultimatum. They must face off against each other in a final showdown, where only one can emerge as the ultimate winner. The prize is enticing, but the cost is their friendship and possibly their lives. In a heart-pounding final, Venus and Ian confront each other, torn between their bond and the game's ruthless demands. In a moment of clarity, they both realize that the game has manipulated them into this situation. Instead of fighting, they decide to defy the game's rules. They broadcast a message to all watchers, exposing the dark side of Nerve and urging everyone to stop participating. Their courageous stand inspires others to turn off their devices and boycott the game, leading to a massive decrease in the number of watchers. The creators of Nerve, seeing their influence wane, shut down the game to avoid further exposure and legal repercussions. In the end, Venus and Ian walk away from the game, scared but wiser. They return to their lives, grateful for their newfound perspectives. Venus decides to pursue her dreams and applies to Cal Art, ready to leave Staten Island and explore the world. She reconciles with Sydney, who learns to value genuine relationships over fleeting internet fame. Nerve concludes with a powerful message about the dangers of losing oneself in the pursuit of online validation and the importance of staying true to one's values and dreams. It's a thrilling ride that leaves viewers questioning their own engagement with social media and the real-life consequences of virtual dares.